This city in Florida takes the crown as the #1 destination for snowbirds, and we're gonna tell you all about it in this video.
And we're getting started right now. The city is where we live, so check out the channel name and subscribe to get more familiar with it because it's Venice, Florida.
And this is not just our opinion, this is actually a study that Storage Cafe did. And there are other contenders in Arizona and Texas as well.
But they did not beat Venice. No one beats Venice. So let's scroll down a little bit. So you can see there's other cities in Florida that got mentioned. Fort Pierce, Florida, Vero Beach, both which we visited and are nice, but not as nice. Just our humble opinion. Mission, Texas, Apache Junction, Arizona. But it says Florida remains the best state overall for snowbirds with 42 cities in the top 100 list, only challenged by Texas.
The article mentions that 24 million Americans now work from home, which makes it a lot easier for those people to come here during the winter.
Yeah, and it's pretty crazy just looking at this graph, like the increase from 2020 to 2021 to 2022. Yeah. And also interesting, I guess, they're kind of implying that, I guess, that snowbirds they're challenging the traditional definition. You usually think of, someone that's retired or something along those lines, or semi-retired coming down for the winter, but they're just saying like, no, anyone that's coming down as, a winter getaway, they're a snowbird. So with work from home, you can kind of be where you want when you want.
Exactly, and that's what I was gonna say too. With work from home, the whole traditional snowbird changes, because before working from home existed, people that are younger were not able to just leave their jobs back home and come to Florida during the winter, right? They had to stay there. Now working from home, it makes it a lot easier for any age really to come down and enjoy the winter months here.
And it's also interesting, went from 10 million in 2020, over doubled to 27 million in 2021, and then 2022 it creeped back down, as I think people had to return to the office and some jobs and things like that, but still remained relatively high. But let's talk more about Venice and how they got this ranking.
Storage Cafe wanted to determine which cities offer the best bang for the buck for snowbirds and sunbirds alike. The places that check all the lifestyle boxes while also taking into account the affordability aspect.
Which is big.
Yeah. We've analyzed and ranked 215 US cities across 11 snowbird-friendly states in terms of, and then they give a list, so we're gonna go over that list.
The first is snowbird-friendly surroundings, October to March average temperatures, rainfall, and air quality. So basically just talking weather and clean air, which, Venice is perfect.
Yes.
Absolutely perfect, especially in those months.
Yes. A lot of people mention that they don't want to move to Florida because it's just so hot here during the summer. And yes, it is. It does get pretty hot, but during winter, our winter months are perfect here. So being able to come here during the winter, that's like the best thing anyone can do, really.
And realistically, so to give you context and an idea of like what to expect if you were thinking about moving to the area. By the way, if you do want to buy or sell a home in the area, get a hold of our real estate team. We make these videos to give you guys some value, and it takes a lot of time and money to do so. So if you do find value in them, we would love to help you find your perfect home in the area. But during those winter months, most days I would say it feels like a perfect summer day. Yes. Not too hot, like a summer day up north, I'm saying here, not down here. Feels like perfect, summer day weather, we're talking low 80s. Air is crisp, really not a lot of humidity, hardly ever rains. And then you'll have some days where it maybe feels like, at least from where we're from in Wisconsin, Midwest area, it might feel like a spring day or a fall day, depending on, the temperatures and things like that.
Or one of those days where you need a hoodie during the morning or at night, but throughout the day, you really don't need anything.
Yeah, so pretty much perfect on that. And then the air quality too, I think is important to note. We're a smaller city. We're not a big metro like Orlando or Miami or something like that. So, there's a little bit less smog, but I guess in general, Florida, there's just not as many factories and things like that. So because of that, the air quality overall, I would say is pretty good. At least I haven't really noticed a whole lot of issues personally. So I don't know if there's any online ratings to look up that, but I'm sure they put that into consideration.
Well, on your phone, on your iPhone, it tells you what the air quality is like.
Yeah, and it's usually pretty good.
The second one is beaches found within a 10-mile radius of each location. Here in Venice, you can be within roughly 15 minutes to the closest beach anywhere in the city. If you're on the island, you'll be much closer. In South Venice, you can be really, really close to Minnesota Key Beach within like a mile and a half. So there are many options here for beaches if that's why you're moving to Florida for.
Yeah, tons of beaches. each has a little different something to offer. You got Sharkies on the pier, so you got tropical drinks and a fishing pier there. You've got a dog beach, so you can bring your dog and have it off leash. We've got the main Venice beach, and then we got Casperson Beach, which helped get us known as the shark tooth capital of the world. You can find a lot of prehistoric shark's teeth there and lots of seashells. And then we've got the jetty, which isn't really a beach, but it's like another water thing to do. And then all the beaches up in Sarasota and Clearwater aren't really that far. Nokomis and Inglewood, just to the south of us too, gives you a whole bunch of different beach options. So I can see why we did well on that. The next two things we're gonna lump together, but I can see why, again, Venice did really well on these, and it's park spaces per capita and golf courses per capita. We've got a lot of amazing parks with great trails, playground equipment, tennis courts, pickleball. There's croquet. I mean, there's all, stuff that I never even thought like I would, see people playing. And there's tons of people playing like croquet at one of the parks in Venice. So it's just a really great spot if you want to get out and golf, get outside and be active.
And also in the downtown area, we have a few parks. There is basketball courts, tennis courts, shuffle puck. There's a small playground for kids as well.
Pickleball also, of course. That's a big one for snowbirds especially. And pickleball's fun, like not just snowbirds, everyone needs to play pickleball. It's great.
Racquetball as well. And Centennial Park too, that has a splash pad, and there's usually when we have festivals and things like that, that's where they'll take place. And Heritage Park, which is a park down the median on Venice Avenue, and you can walk on that park and it takes you straight to the beach, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, awesome walk from our amazing downtown. And also just the city as a whole does really well with like bike trails and walking trails and things like that, with really scenic atmospheres, water views, just being out in nature. Yeah, being able to see wildlife, lots of gopher tortoises and things like that. Just, yeah.
And gators.
Yes, and gators. And we're not joking,
yeah.
But they're not really that dangerous. Well, I mean, you don't want to like go up and try to pet them, but
you have to be aware of your surroundings, and that's about it.
But yeah, for the most part, they're in the water, and we've got a gator that lives in the pond behind our house and never had a single issue with it. And I mean, everyone else in our neighborhood for that matter as well. And that happens in a lot of neighborhoods. So you're okay with gators, trust us.
The next one is the availability of both rentals and housing allocated for seasonal use, and also the cost of renting an apartment and the cost of buying a home. Sure, prices have increased here as they have pretty much everywhere else, but renting or buying a home is still more affordable here than say Sarasota or any other of the big cities like Miami.
Yeah, I mean, for what you get, I mean, when we originally bought here, just before prices went crazy and the pandemic hit and all that, we pretty much bought right near the beginning of the pandemic. And yeah, I mean, at that time we thought it was a steal. We're like, how are places priced at this? It was a little bit higher than what we were looking at, for houses in Orlando area at that time. But yeah, they went up a lot over the next couple of years, but even then, compared to like a lot of other cities, I still feel like it's a pretty good price for what you get.
I feel like it's a fair price, and I don't see those numbers coming back down to prices like in 2019. I just don't see that. It's a beautiful place, and the amenities you get, people are willing to pay for that.
Yeah, and it's growing too. So, I mean, you put that into context with the two, yeah, prices are probably gonna stay right where they are or go higher. The next is the availability of RV parks, which, yeah, we do pretty well on this actually. There's a lot of them sprinkled throughout the area. They're definitely in more designated areas. I know there's one in Nokomis, there's one towards the south Venice area. And I wanna say there's another one or two that I'm not thinking of off the top of my head. I wanna say there might even be one somewhere on the island.
Up of River Road.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so,
and
that's
all the ones in Sarasota.
Yeah, so if you're looking to get down and get here on the cheap, that's a great option as well. Save yourself your money and bring your RV or camper down. And
that's a more relaxed way of living too. You're here to enjoy your winter break, so being in an RV where you don't have to take care of anything really other than your RV, I think it's great, and I think it's very appealing, and it shows because it's really tough to find a parking spot for an RV. So if you are planning to do that, you should do it ahead of time because the RV parks do get booked pretty quickly.
Yeah, so jump on that.
Next one is the number of restaurants. This is probably one of our favorite.
Oh, yeah.
We love food. And there is a lot of different restaurants to pick from. A lot of Italian, Chinese,
some good
Thai,
southern places.
Cuban.
Really good southern places.
Yeah, and also around Venice, not just in Venice, but down in Inglewood. Texas Best is one of the best
barbecue places.
Yeah.
So good.
And also Sarasota.
Foodsie in Sarasota is amazing, honestly. And Mango Bistro is really good in Inglewood.
Inglewood, yeah.
And there's a couple other places too in Venice that are like waterfront dining if you want to do that. You know, great seafood. And, you know, some of the foods have a little bit of like a Caribbean tropical twist to them. Just, yeah, a lot of great places. And also Suncoast Cafe, which is a really good breakfast, lunch, little diner, very limited hours, but it's got like an American, I think a little bit of a Southern twist, but definitely a Caribbean twist. Yeah, mostly Caribbean, I guess you could say, with a little bit of a Southern American twist. But really good food in our little airport, and you can actually see the planes in the back there, the little pond hoppers. So that's kind of a cool spot.
Well, and the owner is actually from St. Lucia, so an island off of the Caribbean, so that would make sense. The next one is self-storage prices.
Which is the most important thing.
Yes. There is a lot of people that do use the self-storage, especially here in Venice. There is a lot of them.
But I'm thinking about this now. I understand their storage cafe and they want to make it important on their list. And it made sense because we were like #1 for cities that blended urban and suburban atmosphere. And it makes sense for that if you're going to live here full time. But if you're a snowbird and you live up in like Wisconsin or New York or something.
Well, if you want to store your RV.
I guess.
Or if you own a boat.
I just feel like normally when I think of storage is someone like you have a primary residence down in Florida. Yeah, and you moved from like up north where you have basements and attics, and then you come down here and you got all this extra stuff and you put it in storage. But if you're a snowbird, I guess, I don't know, to me, I'm like, but they had to put it in there because it's their list.
Yes.
The next one we're having a chuckle about because it's kind of random, but I guess it is important.
It is important, especially if you work from home.
Actually, it's really important. Yeah, now I'm putting that in context with them talking about working from home, but it's the local internet speed. It's just not like the first thing that comes to mind, which both of us have, businesses which were heavily reliant on the internet. So I guess it should be one of the first things we're thinking about. But yeah, I mean, we do pretty well for that. I think the local internet speed is really good. I haven't really had any complaints as far as that goes.
Yeah, with the hurricanes too, the past 2 hurricanes that we had, internet went down for a couple days, but the companies are pretty good about restoring internet and power, so they get to work right away, and that's also important if you do work from home.
And on that note of hurricanes, I mean, that's something you don't ever really have to worry about, at least during the snowbird months. I mean, it could happen, but generally our hurricane season goes from, July to November. So those are the months that you probably will not be here. Although we have started to see more snowbirds come in November, but
October, really.
Yeah. But it does feel like the tail end of when we really start seeing a lot of potential risks would be like September, maybe mid-October from our personal experience.
The next one is safety, and we're actually going to have a video coming up soon about safety in Venice, so stay tuned for that video.
Be sure to subscribe. But yeah, Venice has a really good reputation for being a safe city. We'll leave it at that because, again, we'll have a video coming about that in the future, but good to know and important. Obviously, of course, if you're a snowbird, you want to go somewhere where you can feel safe. The next is healthcare related factors, Medicare pricing for new patients, and availability of hospitals, other medical organizations, and medical professionals. There's a lot of new healthcare facilities being built in the area. Sarasota Memorial is kind of exploding in the area at the moment. There's like new facilities popping up everywhere. So that's good to know.
It's funny that Sarasota Memorial, the closest hospital we had was in Sarasota. Now we have one in Venice, and we'll have one in Northport that's being built. So it's kind of interesting how, because of the population growth, now Sarasota Memorial is coming into the smaller cities as well.
Yeah, so continuing on, it says snowbirds, sweet spots, the perfect blend of amenities, mild climates, and affordability. And it shows the top 100 snowbird destinations, which there's 42 of the top 100 in Florida, which you can see it's the dark blue there and gives you a list of all of them there. But the most important one to know about is Venice. The other ones,
well, it is first on the list,
do not matter at all. But continuing down, the top 10, almost all of them are in Florida. Number 6 is in Texas. Number 7 is in Arizona. And of course, number 1 is Venice. Number 2, Vero Beach, Fort Pierce, Naples, Lake Wales, and a few more in Florida. But Venice, let's talk about that a little more. This picture that they're showing right here, Casperson Beach.
Oh, and it actually says right underneath the picture in the caption.
Yeah, but we knew. Like, it's the only boardwalk like that in Venice by the beaches.
And the article goes on to say Venice, Florida further cements its position as the best destination for snowbirds. Not only does it boast balmy weather throughout the entire winter season, but it excels in several other categories, including the share of housing units for seasonal use. So 87% of them are seasonal use.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's really high.
And we always say, how the traffic in winter months doubles or triples. According to that, it would probably like quadruple.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that seems a little higher than what I would have put it at. So I wonder if it's...
Yeah, I wonder how accurate it is, but
yeah.
hard to say, I guess.
Yeah. Golf courses, it is the 5th best among the cities analyzed for golfers, as well as its health sector.
And we didn't mention this, Sarasota Memorial is one of the top rated hospital systems in all of Florida. So that's also a good thing to know. So if you are considering buying or selling a home in the Venice, Florida area, we put a lot of time and effort in these videos to help you guys out. And if you get any value from them, we want to be the real estate team to help you make that move.
Call, text, or email our team at 941-221-1897. We'd love to help you out. Call or text at any time. We hear from people all the time and we love it.
If you found the video helpful, hit the like button and live breezy.